I see. So as I'm doing content with music production here, I'm making sure you guys who are doing music production here can also go and find my music production content. So I'm making sure that I deliver content in a way that it's for everybody, in a way that everybody's happier, in a way that we need to go and deliver content so that we're focusing on making sure that we have more enough prosperity daily to succeed. So the whole point is make sure that you are somebody who loves life in a way that you're learning very quickly upon what you need to do to become much more. So if you focus upon making sure that your life is successful, and you're focusing upon helping your life to go and dwell upon betterness. See what you guys can do about volume automation over here in terms of the nice and beautiful music production. You just volume automate something that's a Edison recording or anything that you've done a recording of in terms of a WAV file, to volume automate that with a new sound effect to make it seem like a sound effect did stop your nice and beautiful music track. But what you do is make sure you volume automate only the recording of your Edison or anything in terms of WAV files that you've done the recording of. So over here, I have a dinosaur vocal that's coming to step up into the actual music track, while also being able to volume automate that WAV file to make it appear that our dinosaur footsteps are coming into the track. But I never place a volume automation on the dinosaur footsteps, but I only ever place a volume automation on the actual track recording that I've done. And that way, as the track recording as the track recording is going down in volume, then it appears that the dinosaur volume is coming up. But it's really that the dinosaur volume here, with my vocals of the dinosaur footsteps, has no automation in it. Or it has no, let's say, volume automation inside of that. But the thing is with dinosaur footsteps here is there is no volume automation on this specific part over here, but the volume automation is coming from the actual Edison recording over here. And I'm just lowering the tone of the music track while I never place a volume automation on the dinosaur footsteps, but the dinosaur footsteps are just coming into the mix on its own, and it's just a regular sound, but it's because the volume is coming down from something else. And that way I'm showing you guys what to do. I love it. So as I do that, my nice and beautiful sound over here stops on the sound effect over here, and it just seems that something else is just and it just stops and it goes into a new track for myself. So that's the whole point, guys. And the whole point is listen to your track over and over again, so you have the whole basis of what you want. And now the point here is I have to work on the actual, let's say, the finish over here. And I have a finish line over here where I have to go and listen to it, and I have to go and do better over here to make sure that all the sounds are working. I would say, guys, the best time I've had in my life right now is the coronavirus pandemic, and it's because I've been helping myself to learn the whole time, and I've been learning really, really quickly upon what I need to do to succeed. So as I succeed, I'm learning very quickly upon what I need to do around music production. But what I do now is I just go and fix these sounds and make sure to do the finale, and from that point I have to listen back to it as well. But what I want to do really is that's the kind of case. So what I want to do is just do these sounds and export them MP3. And from that point, once I export the MP3 and I export actually the MP3 and 16-bit file from all my music projects now only. And then the 32-bit file I only ever let it be inside of my nice beautiful packages, and I can always open it up. So what I do now is I focus upon making sure that you guys can always have what you need, but making sure that now, since I do that, I make sure to go and do better. See, also, guys, what I do quickly with my music production here is I make sure to go around the information quickly with the headphones and earphones to just listen to everything quickly, to hear the sounds and how everything's sounding in terms of the vocals and what's happening around the vocals. But I just do a quick scan. So what I'm doing now is a quick scan around my music track here. And now, do I want to play anything in terms of, do I want to place any trumpets over here or anything like that? No. This nice and beautiful track is totally different from the intro, and I want to make it totally different. I want to make it something else, because that way it's something new, and it's something that I never want to regret. Because if I start placing trumpets over here and some instruments of live instruments here, then it's never that instrumental of original quality that I was actually producing before. So I understand that no matter what, it's just that kind of feel. So if you're creating a music track and you have a music track that you've done, and just make sure that it's original. in terms of the original sound that you want. Because if I start adding more value here and I start adding more and more value, then it turns out into something different. Now I understand that what I do here is I understand that the sounds are still here, but if I want to hear that kind of sound here, then I make sure to just hear that sound. So what I do now is I focus on making sure that the original sound quality is still here, but I never want to damage it. I never want to damage it because there's something more I can do always in every single track. Every single track I make, there's always something I can do more. Understand? So what I want to do is I want to say enough is enough over here, and I understand Jesus Christ says that if you're happy with it, then just go and really, really dwell upon a better way, and making sure that no matter what, I just want to let it be. I want to let this be. I want this whole part over here to just sound the way it is in a different way. So what I do is I let it be that way, and it's all new for me, and that's how I actually understand that this part over here is very different toward everything, but there's only one big drop in here, and everything else is nice and steady, and that way I'm always learning the nice and beautiful art of what I need to do. But that's how I actually let it be that way, because I'm focusing on a better way for myself anyway. I'm focusing on helping myself to deliver. So as I deliver, I focus upon different areas of life. So I just focus on seeing what's happening over here. So as I go for a nice and beautiful lifestyle over here, I'm focusing on doing better. Alright guys, what you can do is you can go and clone your sounds. So as you clone your sound, what you can do is go and clone the nice and beautiful bass drum over here. I'm always hearing Jesus Christ clapping for me. So in terms of Jesus Christ is clapping for me always when you understand when you're doing something nice and beautiful for yourself and you're learning the nice and beautiful attitude. So what you really, really understand when you're doing this, I'm not saying that I'm just picking up frequencies over here in a way that I'm learning quickly about what's happening, but every single day just go and dwell upon making your nice and beautiful track in a way that you're learning quickly upon, never being somebody who's shaming yourself, but you're making sure that you understand that what I'm doing here is I'm making a sound that has a distortion, in terms of a kick distortion, and I'm making sure I place a new channel rack over here with the actual bass drum over here. So making sure that nice and beautiful bass drum has no sidechain to it with through the limiter. So what I'm doing is one of my actual tracks, in terms of my kick track, has a sidechain. And one of it has a sidechain, but the other one has no sidechain. And why is that? Because the fruity limiter here is what I'm talking about. And now the fruity limiter in FL Studio can help you to sidechain your kicks with your melodies. So as I've done the sidechain with my kicks over here, I'm making sure you understand that what I need to do is I need to make my original kick happen. And how do I do that? I make sure that since I have a kick over here that's helping me to have my actual original kick that I have without the sidechain with the fruity limiter, I'm placing that kick over the one that has a fruity limiter on it. Because the fruity limiter kick over here is the one that sounds much more, let's say, in a way that it's much more bigger. It's much more, let's say, something that is more in distortion. So I want to have my original sounding kick. So if you have a kick that has a fruity limiter on it, then go and clone that kick as well to have no limiter on it, is what I'm saying. So go have no fruity limiter on your kick as well, and have one kick that is exactly the same, in terms of that is exactly the same, that has a fruity limiter on it with a kick. And then go and place a fruity limiter with the kick of your choosing onto where you need it, but the other ones, in terms of the other melodies in your track, have no fruity limiter with that kick. And that way you're changing your progression into something new, while also making sure you're keeping your original sounding kick. So I have an original sounding kick over here that I made before the fruity limiter came in. And I'm actually getting that sound. I'm getting myself that kick sound that has no fruity limiter by cloning my kicks and placing it into a new mixer channel track. And once I place it into a new mixer channel track, then it has no fruity limiter on it, and then I just use that. But then I use the actual fruity limiter kick where I need it in the track only. And that way you guys understand straight away what I'm doing. Alright, now this sounding kick over here is something that sounds much better for me now, personally. So what I do now is I focus upon making sure that the kick is nice and beautiful. So I want to see over here. I see also, guys, on a kick, I make sure to place 40 Hz cut all the time on all my nice and beautiful kicks. So it sounds much better, so I can do greater. I also, guys, what I've done over here with my kick over here is I did place it in a nice and beautiful Maximus. So it's in a Maximus now. So as my kick is in the maximus, I'm making sure that kick has no high. So I did take off the high frequency from the kick so I can have that original sounding kick that I need. So also guys, what you want to be doing in terms of the news channels out there and everything in terms of live, then just make sure that you're never too much looking into that, because that's never helping you grow. I mean, that's just giving you ideas about what's going on out there. But the thing is that what you want to be doing is you want to be somebody who understands straight away to go and dwell upon your business and what helps you grow today in terms of what you're doing to help people, in terms of your music or whatever it is. But the nice and beautiful, let's say over there in terms of what's happening with Israel and Gaza and all that, I mean, you never want to be looking too much into that. I mean, same because you have a life to live. I mean, you have something else to do in life. I mean, you have to go and make some money for yourself. I mean, you have to go and dwell upon something that's much better for you for now, so you can go and dwell upon a better way for yourself first. And that way, you have to enjoy yourself and you have to do something that's actually helping you move forward first, so you can actually go and dwell upon a better way for yourself. And then make sure that no matter what, that you're studying upon the game of art in a way that you're learning quickly upon what you need to do to succeed. Because what's important for yourself today is making sure you have more than enough of a great life first before you actually go and do anything else. So make sure you understand that I never want to be looking too much into the news today, because that's all a waste of my time. And why is it a waste of my time? Because yes, they update me about what's going on around the world, but that's just an update. I realize it never helps me with my life to improve my life with Jesus Christ, for example. You understand? I mean, guess what? I promise you, what helps me improve my life with Jesus Christ is the discipline I set out to do every single day. And I make sure I do my disciplines. I make sure I go and do Jesus Christ work today, which means I just read what Jesus Christ has for me. I never try to read what they are giving me on the daily news as much. I understand. But Jesus Christ's information is eternal life, and I focus on that information daily. I mean, that's more information for me than anything I ever need in life, is Jesus Christ's information already. So if you want to update yourself really around the world, then just understand that the truth always stays the same, and Jesus Christ's story is always the same. I mean, in a sense, so just understand that story is more enough for you to be able to go and do that kind of thing. So making sure that no matter what, if you understand to drink the nice and beautiful blood of Christ in a way that you're learning that you're never killing anything, but you're making sure that you're understanding what I mean by making sure that you're reading from Jesus Christ and you're learning his story in terms of life, and that's what I mean. So make sure that the nice and beautiful behavior that you have every single day, that you're learning how to do better, is what I mean. So focus on that attitude for yourself, and then you're making sure that you're doing greater in life, and you're making sure every single day you have more than enough of what you need to succeed every single day, because that's how you learn and grow. I see with your music, guys, I promise you, the only time that people care about your music really is in the nightclubs. I mean, in a sense, so in the nightclubs is the only time they care about your music. So what you do from this point is just make sure that you understand straight away that if you're growing yourself in nightclubs and what you're doing in terms of the world around you, then go and be someone who understands straight away to go and dwell upon a better way for yourself. And that way you're learning quickly that you need to go and study the art of behavior in a way that you're learning how to succeed, and that's how you understand straight away how to live life. I see, because that's how it is. See over here, guys, you have that nice and beautiful tool, which is the delete tool over here in FL Studio. So just go use that tool straight away to be able to go and delete what you need out of your nice and beautiful content over here, so you can go and dwell upon a better way for yourself. So that's how you do it. See, sometimes, guys, the actual kick never comes out through the mix, so make sure you just be careful to see where that kick is. So make sure that your kick is actually kicking the mix, so you actually have a better mix. See, guys, the best thing you can do is, if you want to go and export your music with your nice and beautiful in terms of what you've done, then make sure you export the Zoop package first. I mean, loop the package so you understand how to open it always, and just place a title. So for example, this one is iDynotopia final version, and I just set it be that way, or ending version. I can put end version, and anyway, I just let it be that way. But what I'm doing is I'm zipping the package, and I'm zipping all the tools and requirements to be able to open the package regardless of what's happening. So your FL Studio is able to, or your nice and beautiful audio workstation is able to loop the whole package. So let's say you have a 1 hour track that you just made. you can loop the whole package and zip it together into one folder so that you can open that folder and you can click the file to open up your project, and it always opens up your project. And this one file has all of the audio stem files in it already, and that way you can loop the you can loop the nice beautiful package in your FL Studio and audio workstation to be able to open that package always with all the stem files in it. Because if you want to open up your nice and beautiful music, then you have to loop it, and you have to understand how to loop it. So what happens is with the audio stem files, that if your audio stem files are never with that file in terms of the FLP file or your audio workstation file, then it never opens up your file. But you have to understand that you have to have your audio stem files with that file to be able to open your files. When the audio stem files is actually the nice and beautiful soundtracks or the instrumentals of the music, has to be with that file for you to open that nice and beautiful project. So that's why you loop it all together, and it has all the nice and beautiful audio files inside of the actual zip folder. And then you're making sure, either way, you're making sure that you're learning how to grow and how to explain yourself. And make sure you loop the folder first and go and upload it online as soon as possible, so that you never lose anything of that project. Otherwise, Russia, that's a nice and beautiful way for you to understand straight away what to do. So make sure you understand from that point. Go and export your nice and beautiful music into MP3 and 16-bit WAV files, and keep the 32-bit version as your package deal. So what I mean is, when you loop the nice and beautiful package into a zip file, then you can understand straight away you can always go and export a 32-bit, you can always export a 32-bit WAV file version with that nice and beautiful way of life. We understand that no matter what's happening, always is that you're fully understanding that Gerald Celente did say that there is a war coming up between Israel and Gaza, and he's saying always, and I promise you he predicts the future like that, and he says what's happening before time. So make sure you're going and watching Gerald Celente and his news updates, so you understand straight away that he speaks honesty and truth, that guy. And make sure that no matter what, that you're learning straight away that once you understand anything about music production, that you go and loop all your packages together and have all the zip files and all of your files together to be able to go and export your versions into MP3 and also WAV files. And make sure that you export 16-bit WAV file with the MP3 file, and let the 32-bit version in terms of your music tracks be with the zip folder. And that way you open the zip folder whenever you want to have a 32-bit WAV file, then you have a nice and beautiful 32-bit WAV file with the nice and beautiful zip folder. So just go and export 32-bit WAV file whenever you want, but export 16-bit and MP3 first. And that way you understand that whenever you need to export a 32-bit WAV file, that you already have the loop package of your nice and beautiful soundtrack, and you can open the file and just do that for yourself whenever you want. But open up and really export 16-bit and MP3 first, because that's what Spotify needs, and also people need on YouTube. For example, an MP3 on YouTube is what I upload on YouTube. So I upload MP3 files on YouTube and on SoundCloud, and also on Spotify I give them the 16-bit version. And then also you have to understand that the reason Spotify asks you, in terms of the reason Spotify is asking you and why they ask you to give them a 16-bit version is because that's their kind of system. And just give it to them, and just understand that no matter what, that they never want to scam you, so nothing can scam you in life. But then just make sure that no matter what, that you understand straight away that with MP3 files, with MP3 files, that you can understand straight away that what you need to do is you need to go and dwell upon having yourself a nice and beautiful way of having a great time for yourself. So make sure that you're always exporting the content that's actually helping you grow, and then be able to go and really understand what you're exporting and why. So as I export here, I export in the 16-bit Intel version, and also I'm understanding that it's a 16-bit WAV file and 16-point sync. So 16-point sync with the 16-bit Intel, and also I'm making sure that it's an MP3 that's 320 kbps. So when I export my MP3 with FL Studio, I export it at the nice beautiful 320 kbps with 16-bit. And this one here, in terms of my final version here, it's 80 minutes long, and I'm understanding that's 180 minutes already of my music track, otherwise. And now I'm doing the final version in terms of the middle track over here now. I have to go and export the middle track. So what I do with the middle track is I work on it a bit more. And now since I understand it's like that, I'm making sure that anyway, what I can do with that track is just go and really label it in a different way. And I make sure that I can go add some value here. I can do something with trumpets. I can do something with my wave files here. And I can make sure it's nice and steady for everybody to go and listen to. I love it. For sure, I want to make this one at least 4 hours long. So I'm going to say it's already 4 hours long in terms of my Dinotopia track. It's 4 hours long. And because it's 4 hours long, I'm understanding anyway that what I want to do is I want to dwell upon a better way. So I have one drop, I have two drops, I have three drops in the nice and beautiful intro, and then in the outro or my final track I have two drops, and I'm making sure those are already 5 drops I have in my music. And then in the nice and beautiful, let's say middle, I make some more drops over here, but making sure you understand straight away how I'm orchestrating a beautiful track over here, and you guys have to listen to Dinotopia. Now, Dinotopia is where my dinosaurs come into play, and you have to understand that it's more how I have a storyline as well. And as I have a storyline in what's happening, I realize it's all coming together nice and sweet for me. But since I'm actually understanding straight away what I need to do now, is I've already done the cleaning of the project. So when I clean the project, I realize it's the best part to clean the project, and you have to understand every single part that you do in music production is the best part. So just be learning very quickly upon what you want to do. And then focus upon understanding that since I have my middle part coming up now, I understand today I can finish it. I mean, today I can finish my music track, Dinotopia, I love it. And I can upload it online finally. Now, once I do this nice and beautiful track, I understand then I have 6 hours of music to play at festivals. And then guess what? I just go DJ it all together. But that's already a 6-hour DJ session. And what I need to do is I need to sit for 6 hours and DJ my music. And from that point, I'm understanding that no matter what, that all I want to do really is DJ it all separately anyway. But when I really DJ the 6-hour music, I'm doing it on stage. But the whole point is I get my DJ deck, I hook it up to the portable speaker, I do a Bluetooth on it, I just go and get myself a table or something like that, and I just go and DJ. And then I understand this 6 hours of music, I can play all around the world. I can go to Japan with it, I can go to Hong Kong, I can go to Tokyo, I can go to anywhere in Australia, I can go all the way around the world with this nice and beautiful music, and I can play it everywhere. I mean, it's because it's together as a 6-hour set. So what I do is I let it be that way. And that way, I'm understanding it's a 6-hour music set, and I can always make a nightclub or a night of a night music club for myself, where I can go to a nightclub and I can play 6 hours of music on a night. And I can start at 9 a.m. It goes on 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. I start from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. at nightclubs, I love it. And I DJ for 6 hours, my music. And that's why I'm understanding 6 hours of music I have now to play. And that's it, yeah? That's what you need to do. But for those people who are creating 3-minute music tracks, I promise you, by the time you make 6 hours of music with those 3 minutes of music you make, I promise you it's more how you need to create 20 tracks per 3 minutes, which is 20 times 3 is 6. I promise you now, that's already 6 times 20 is 120, or else you have to create 120 music tracks to get to 6 hours of music. I mean, 120 music tracks you have to create to make a 6-hour music set. I mean, in a sense. So the thing about me is I'm never cheating anything, but the thing about me is very different. That within 3 months, I did create already 6 hours of music. Within 3 months. And within 3 months, I already did create 120 hours of music. In terms of 120 tracks of music. I love it. I mean, how's that possible? Because 6 hours of music divided by 3, I mean, then you understand 120 tracks I already have in terms of my 6 hours of music that I did make. But it's only 3 tracks. I did make 3 tracks, and I have 3 tracks now that is 6 hours altogether. I love it. I promise you, it's a Zonify and I Thy Shall Never Kill and a Dinotopia, which is my first 3 EPs out of 1,000 over here. I'm making sure I'm winning, guys. So I love it. I promise you, although if you want to really understand DJing and how fast DJing has to be, and how quick you have to be somebody in music, is go and create yourself longer music tracks and compositions, so you can understand really what you have to do to become a music producer. Because now, since I understand straight away how Will Sparks and Van Buren and Marlowe and then Mouse and Stunts and Brothers, and how they go about music, and Timber Trumpet and Marcus Santoro and all these people in terms of music production, and David Guetta and Chainsmokers and Headhunters and Brendan Hart and all these people in terms of how they're doing music. I can see much more about their excellent approach. They're excellent music producers. Approach they can produce music. But the thing about me is I'm doing way more than them. And now since I understand I've already done the overlapping of them, and I already went the quicker way. I went the quicker way through music production, and the quicker way is the longer way. And I went the longer way to learn, specifically the longer way of music production. And I go and create 1 hour music tracks. While they're making 3-minute tracks, I'll make 1 hour music tracks. I'll make 4-hour music tracks, while they're making 3-hour. In terms of, while they're making 3-minute music tracks to 12 minutes, I'm making 4 hours of music tracks. I'm making a whole project, 4 hours of music compositions. Otherwise, I mean, you're saying, so my Dinotopia track is 4 hours long. 4 hours is a composition of a Dinotopia. In a sense, so no matter what, you can understand that other people have 3 to 12 minutes for their tracks to be 3 to 12 minutes only. But mine was 4 hours long. So that's why I'm learning so much more than them in a shorter space of time. Understand? And that's why I'm always understanding that I'm always going the long way. But I'm learning quicker. And that's how it is. Understand? So I'm learning much quicker than them in the same period of time. I'm making sure that anyway, do you understand that everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. But since I'm understanding now, I have 3 hours of my Dinotopia lullaby. I'm making sure I go and dwell upon helping myself to succeed. But I make sure anyway that what I need to do is something better for myself now. I need to be able to go do the middle part, and then I need to listen to the whole instrumental piece. I can say finally I get to do it. In a sense, so what I need to do is actually do it first, by making sure it's almost done, and then I understand straight away that what I do from that point is I go and listen to 6 hours of my music together. But I do that I'll do that straight away, and I make a nice and beautiful mashup over here of 6 hours of music, and I just make it 6 hours long. And what I can do is I can go and cut out a piece of music, but I never want to cut out the piece of music. I make sure I play everything on the night, and that's it. I play everything on the night, and I make it all mash up together. And as I do that, it just starts from one track to another. And how do I actually mash it up? I just make sure that I put a break between, and it happens really quickly. So I'm understanding that anyway, since I understand Dinotopia is easy to mix, and then my nice and beautiful tracks are just coming along together, lullaby. Or they come along, and in the break lines, I may play something, but what I do is I just leave silence in between the gaps, and just connect it together this way, and I make sure anyway. It all happens very quickly, and it's just side by side. And I export one WAV file that's 6 hours long, and it's I export one WAV file which is 16-bit, and also an MP3 file with that into the nice and beautiful mashup. And what I do also is I make sure that no matter what, that I can get the 32-bit WAV file as well with the mashup. But do I do it? I promise you, yes. I have to actually get the 32-bit WAV file as well. I love it. That way I understand that no matter what, that first of all I can zip the nice and beautiful package, and I can just get the 16-bit and MP3 file, and that way I'm saving time, because what I do is I zip the project, and I can always open it. I can always open a project to get a 32-bit WAV file whenever I want. So what I'll do is I just get the 16-bit and MP3 file, and if I ever need the 32-bit WAV file, I just open my project again and I just export it. I just get myself the 16-bit and also the MP3 file, and I put it together as 6 hours of music. So the thing about music is, when I make 6 hours of music, and you listen to 6 hours of my music, and you listen to 30 minutes of another person's music, then of course you love me more. I love it. I promise you now, the thing is about music production is the more you create, the more people listen to you in terms of what you've done in terms of music. So that's the thing, yeah. Or else if you want to have a greater legacy in music, or anything in terms of life coaching, or anything in terms of content, in terms of what you're doing, then the more you do, the better for you. I mean, the more music you make, the better for you. So I'm understanding that no matter what, the Alvin Van Buren has around 6 hours of music as well. That guy has already 6 minutes. He has already around 6 hours of music. And now does he really? I love it. He has around 6 hours of music. And it's more how I understand straight away that his albums are already nice and beautiful. So he has 1 hour in each album, and he has over 7 albums, man. I mean, so that's already 7 hours of music that he has. He can play all his music, but he has over 7 albums. I have 3 tracks that are 6 hours. I mean, I understand that what you want to understand about this is he already has 7 albums, and in those 7 albums, he has already 8 tracks in each album. But I have 3 tracks. They're 6 hours long, and he has over, let's say, 70 tracks that are 6 hours long. I mean, so the thing is, I'm doing much better than him because in 3 tracks I make 6 hours of music, but he needs to make 120 tracks to make 6 hours of music, and that's Armin van Buuren, who has to make 120 tracks to make 6 hours of music, but Danny Milivojevic has to make 3 tracks to make 6 hours of music. And I just make 1 track 6 hours now. I love it. I can make 1 track that I make 6 hours long. And how do I do that? I can function it differently. I can go and explore it all differently. And I'm making sure that now, since I'm understanding, I'm never in confusion about Armin van Buuren and how he does his nice and beautiful sound effects and what he does around his content. But I'm understanding that no matter what, that as you open up my project over here in Untitled, I promise you the renaming of the file is all over the place. And why is that? But I'm not saying that it's just the way it is. I promise you, it's just the way I went to orchestrate that track that way. But I'm not saying that no matter what, you guys have to understand that you can still open the track and you can see what's what. And anyway, it's much more how I feel to make sure that you understand straight away how I'm organizational in whatever I'm doing. But it's all in there, and I'm making sure I can do better than that anyway. But from now on, I want to make sure that my music tracks are doing much better than that, in a way that I rename everything in terms of the file so you can find exactly where everything is. And that way, as I do that, I promise you it's much more how I need to structure a better way for myself always. So I'm making sure that now I just go and do better to just let it be and move on. And I make sure that no matter what, it's much more how I feel. I have to go and do better anyway. So as I do better, I focus upon letting it be for now because I want to go and learn something. I'd rather learn something from everything I'm doing. So I understand that no matter what, that in that there, I probably there's no learning in that anymore because I understand how to do that. So what I do is I make sure that no matter what, if you have any learning experience about music production or anything in terms of life that you want to do, then what you want to do is you want to focus upon your music and understand that the more music you make, the more you can make a live event around that music. I mean, in a sense, so I can make 6 hour live events now around the world with my music because I have 6 hours of music. And within that, I can go and place my nice and beautiful other music within this set. I can play it all together. I can play all my music together. And now do I do it? I'm sure I can. I can definitely do it. But what I want to do also is I can place mashups in between, and I can make all this music Danny Milivojevic right here. And anyway, I promise you that my nice and beautiful mashup for now is 6 hours long over here. And everything else can be on the side, but making sure I go the long way in music. I want to be able to create more and more music for you in a way that I'm learning very quickly. But my next project is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with Mozart. And I want to dwell upon having some wolves and some nice and beautiful children in the background singing and playing. And I want to go and create something around this. And I want to make this nice and beautiful for myself. But I have a similar setup. I have a similar setup over here. I make sure no matter what that my nights, for example, if it's let's say 7 hours of music, I'll make sure that I'll make a 7 hour nightclub night for myself. And anyway, what I want to do is focus upon understanding that I can always fill in the time and gaps with my nice and beautiful music in terms of what I've done with previously. And I can make sure that no matter what, I'm always learning quickly upon how I can actually structure this music. But that's how you do it. And I understand that Armin van Buuren is always shifting his gears in terms of what he's doing in music, but the DJing session in terms of what I'm doing is different. And we're DJing together, but it's different. So he has to go and do all these mashups around his 3-minute tracks, but I have to do all my mashups around 1 hour tracks. So it's very easy to mash up my music, and it's more than enough for me to understand that I can shift gears as well. But the thing is, I understand straight away what that information is and how he does it. So as I really, really understand that, what I do with my DJing sessions and my radio shows is understand I just post my music online, and that's my radio show. And I understand anyway that since I do that, I'm making sure that no matter what, that I feel that Marlo, for example, was just playing his radio show today, and there was around 28 people in his YouTube channel watching. I mean, around 28 people, man. I mean, for fuck's sake. I understand. I mean, is that all he gets? I understand, but in a state of trance over there, in terms of radio show that Van Buren has, actually people show up, and around 2,000 people show up to watch him do his radio show. And he has a 24/7 radio show where over 300 people are always watching that. I understand. And the thing is, every single time, just focus on making sure that you're doing greater anyway, but you're making sure that anyway, that you can see Van Buren's shows around 300 people watching. I mean, you understand? I mean, every single day you must understand that what you need out of life is to focus upon understanding that if you want to be great, such as I in life, then you have to understand straight away to make more music for yourself. So I understand that other people have these nice beautiful music tracks. Approach it's such beautiful music tracks they have, but I'm understanding that it's just like that. Approach it's just the way it is. Approach when you listen to music, then it's just that way. Approach it's just the way it is, and it's beautiful what people can make in music. Approach. But the thing is with me, that when people see Danny Milivojevic and how he makes music, then they say, oh, his tracks are 1 hour long. His tracks are 3 hours long. His tracks are 4 hours long and more. They're actual masterpieces of music together. And you have to understand that there's a big difference between a 4-hour music track and a 3-minute one. I mean, I make 4 hours of music. And check out Dinotopia. And check out the whole season of 4 hours of music together, and then go and listen to a 3-minute track over there somewhere, and see what more. Go and see what's more value for you. I mean, of course, 4 hours of Dinotopia is going to be much more value for you than a 3-minute track out there. So that's why I stand out straight away, and nothing in terms of anybody else can tell me about what I'm doing. But guess what I do now? I just I hustle like this, and I very quickly, and people are going to be noticing me over time, and they're going to be saying, hey, I see this music that he's making over here. He's making long ass music tracks over here. I mean, he's making long music, and then people start to realize something about this, and guess what happens? I become a legend over here. I become a legend because why? Because people realize that they have to go my way for music, and they have to start making longer compositions, and that's why now they realize that I'm first. I'm doing it first than them. I'm doing it first over them. And because I'm doing much more music than they are, I suddenly am the leader of all these people in terms of music production because I'm making longer tracks. And now, Deadmau5 can make beautiful long tracks, I promise you. He can make long tracks. And he can make these nice and beautiful tracks, but he is yet to do that. And I understand anyway that since he does make 9-minute tracks, but Deadmau5 goes a long way in music, but thing is, I go longer than him. I go in a better direction in music. So when I create music, I want all of them to listen to it, but they all listen to it on YouTube, especially on Spotify. And now, if I place it on Spotify, I do place all my music on Spotify. I make sure that people can hear it. Otherwise, I probably sure that for now, I probably know. I probably want to make a 3-minute track also. And now, with my music, I want to be able to make energy tracks and also quiet tracks. I want to make a difference. I want to make different albums. But what I do first is I make an energy mix here and there. And I make sure that no matter what, with Dinotopia, I focus on understanding that it's much more energy anyway. And since I understand that, I want to create other aspects of life over here. And I want to do something that's nice and beautiful. But with a chill mix around a nice and beautiful, let's say, a Dinotopia, I can grab something nice and beautiful here that can make it a 3-minute track. I can go the slowest way, and my 3-minute slow tracks are with no kick. I mean, at most. I mean, in a sense, so if I do that, probably it's much more how it is. So what I do is, do I arrange anything, or do I just go and pick a selection of the music somewhere? I mean, all I really do is I pick a selection of the music to make that my track, and that's it. I mean, in a sense, so what I do is I make sure that's how I make music. I make sure that no matter what, that from my music tracks, I have a 3-minute track from that point. So my energy music in my Dinotopia track over here. I mean, what can I say? I mean, with Untitled, the first thing I see is the synth over here, which is bashing itself the whole way. I mean, as I do that one right there, I mean that's more something, but it's never really energy, is it? But it's more trance music anyway. Probably now, is that the kind of pace that I want? Probably it's more how I need to make an energy. I need to find an energy part of the music, but these nice and beautiful parts over here are all nice and clear for me. But I'm saying anyway that since I make energy music now as well, I'm saying that no matter what, that I can see the differences between my music channels over here. So I love it. Actually, I see my intro over here has energy music, you know. Actually, that's beautiful right there. Actually, that's something I can do right here as my Untitled track. And it's energy as well. And why is it energy? Because that's the way it is. But over here in my final part, there's rarely any energy in it. It's just trance music with no energy. And that's my final Untitled mix. And then in my intro, it starts with a jazz kind of solo and it has some jazz music with funk trance. And then it goes into the nice and beautiful energy music. And then it finishes with energy with live funk trance. And that's something that's different, and that's a different melody of what I'm doing around music now, where I'm getting all these nice beautiful live instruments and doing something with it. And now that's something of a state of funk trance I introduced into the people so they can see a new genre, which is funk trance. And that's a new way of life. So no matter what, that since I do that, I mix trance music with guitar solos and live instruments. And that's something new that nobody else is doing except I understand, although it's much more how I'm doing something different, totally. And I make sure that no matter what, that yes, other people have done that already, but they've never done it like I am doing it. I mean, so I'm doing something different. And making sure that no matter what, you must understand that as I do something different, I'm making sure now that in my middle is all energy. Now, the middle part of my track is all energy. And now I understand straight away that my outro is all trance music without energy. And my actual intro over here is funk trance all the way with some energy. And the middle part is just energy. And now the middle part is just energy with nice and beautiful instruments that I have. So I'm making sure now in the middle, shall I play some nice and beautiful funk trance in it? Or should I can say no. I want to do something totally different. I want to make sure it's totally different over here. I want to make sure that I introduce some nice and beautiful melodies here. And I focus on something new, but I have all my Untitled tracks over here, and it's all different. And I send everything that I've already made in Untitled in terms of the original versions are in the track. But then I made something new totally. And since I've done that, I can actually see now exactly what is trance music and what is energy trance and what is euphoric trance and what is energy euphoric trance. And I can see euphoric melodies as well, and I can see what melodies are. I can see how to make melodies. I can see how to do free limiters with kicks. I can see how to distort my music and also lower the volume where I need to, while also placing sound effects to make sure that I can go into new segments and making sure anyway I can change the kick up. I can also change my kicks up. I can make sure that no matter what, I can rearrange something and create new editing tools while also recording Edison and also sound effects. And I can make 4-hour music tracks. And I can make sure anyway that from this project called Dinotopia, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about music. I've learned something amazing. I now understand how to do a state of funk trance as well, and how to understand how to use my portable speaker and what I have in terms of music. I'm not saying anyway that since I have 6 hours of music, I mean, when you listen to 6 hours of Danny Milivojevic music, then you understand straight away what I'm doing. I'm not saying that my other music has to just roll the footage for now and just let it be for now. And make sure that I just upload my trance music online now. I'll just let it be that way. I'll probably everything is equal. I'm making sure that my techno tracks are played live somewhere. And now with my techno mix with Spotify, I'm probably sure I can upload it online as together. I can upload that mix together online somewhere. I can make it one album. I can always do that. But what I do now is I focus on something new, and I want to be able to play my techno music somewhere as well. I want to make some techno music, but the thing with techno music is techno is more kicks and percussion over melodies. I'm making melody music now. I'm making a lot of melody music, but because I understand how I'm actually demonstrating my trance music, but what I'm doing really is I'm demonstrating all these different ways to make trance music. And I'm making energy music, and I'm making no energy music, and I'm making slow music without energy, and I'm making fast music with energy. So I'm giving you the whole range of broad ideas in one music track. So it's all different. And that's why I understand that what they are doing in music is the same thing. I'm pretty sure everybody's doing what I'm doing right now. But I'm doing more than them. I mean, said, actually, it's much more how I understand now how a music track is orchestrating itself into something new. And I straight away understand how to go and deliver something greater. So as I deliver something greater, I'm focusing on something much more. So that's how I feel. But making sure I understand straight away how people are going to nightclubs now. Love I. For sure, although I understand that no matter what, I have to start somewhere with my music tracks, but I do 6 hour nights. And now, since the Mill Hotel over there, I understand the Mill Hotel. Or should I give my business cards and make sure that people can come watch me on a night? I'm going to promote over 3,000 business cards to come to the Mill Hotel for in terms of people to come to the Mill Hotel to watch me. And now, how much is entry at the Mill Hotel? Probably $50 entry to see me. Probably $50 entry, and a little bit capping at $50. I can let it be like that way. I can let it be that way, and I make sure I book the room. I love I. Probably I make sure I understand straight away I can make the money from that nice and beautiful Mill Hotel. And what I understand that Sunset Brothers is having a 2 night thing over there. But what I do is I make a 1 night for myself for now, and then I can do a 2 night eventually. Or making sure that what they do, I love it. Probably what Sunset Brothers is doing is they're making 2 nights of music over there because they're using other people's music. I mean, they're using other people's music. I mean, they go on Beatport and they buy. I mean, they go and invest $60 or $300 to get some music, and they put it together in one mashup, and they say Sunset Brothers 3 nights in they say Sunset Brothers 2 nights in Mill Hotel. I mean, first they play their music here and there, and then they go and play other people's music to just play something to make some money. I see it. I see it straight away. So no matter what, it's more like that. So I can see what they're doing. But for myself now, I'm understanding that no matter what, that since I have life coaching as well, I'm focusing on understanding that it's never just about music production, but it's also about life coaching. And now, if you understand a life coach of the decade or century or millennial or whatever it is, then Danny Milivojevic is your man. Or actually, Danny Milivojevic is something in life. Just life coaching. I teach you every single day about life coaching. I'm pretty sure though, since I'm actually learning quickly about music production, I'm understanding that now, since I have so much more time to create music, I'm pretty sure I have more than enough time to be able to go and sing along symphonies and help people enjoy my projects. But now, since people are understanding 4 hours of music by Danny Milivojevic, I should have to sit for 4 hours to listen to everything, and that's the thing, yeah? So people have excitement the whole way to listen to what I've done, and that way they get to see something new. They get to see a new Danny Milivojevic here. And since I'm actually doing this music, I understand straight away what's happening in nightclubs and how they're producing music these days. And I can see straight away I'm at the top of the club. I'm at the top of the food chain. I mean, understand? Actually, everything's a food chain and drink chain. In terms of everything's a food chain and drink chain and everything of Jesus chain today. So I'm understanding that no matter what, everything's a nice and beautiful food and drink of life in Jesus Christ with the word I. So I'm understanding that no matter what, as I grow, I can see straight away how people are playing 2013 music and they're going toward 2016 today. And the radios are playing much more, let's say, of everything today. But what they're doing in nightclubs today mostly is they're playing up to, let's say, whatever it is today. But no matter what, I can see straight away how people are making music. And now Calvin Harris is somewhere behind the scenes. But he's never making much headlines today. Here's Calvin Harris. I want to go and see, for example, his Spotify account over here. I want to see, does he have any new albums? So I'll go search him up. See Calvin Harris. Alright, now always I'm looking to understand to study people and their music. So I want to go and see what they're doing. But I'm pretty sure they're doing something, but they're never doing what I'm doing, I'm pretty sure. So as I'm understanding that I'm much more ahead of other people in terms of music now, I'm doing much better than Calvin Harris. Overall, I'm doing much better than what he has in terms of life. And now the views over here, I promise you, those views, with what he's doing over here, I promise he has over 1 billion views with some nice and beautiful tracks that he has. But the thing is that no matter what, that I realize that's how it is. But guess what? I realize that my views is something even more long term. And I can see that straight away. I can see straight away I never have to lie about anything, but I can compare the differences between music people in terms of what I'm doing and what they're doing. But I can always go and listen to their nice and beautiful albums over here. So I'm not saying that in 2018 that Calvin Harris has a nice and beautiful track over here of Dua Lipa. She's a beautiful singer. So I'm not saying that no matter what, that his single is out now with Live Without Your nice and beautiful something. So I say Live Without Your Love. There's a Steve Lacy remix. I'm not saying that no matter what, that people are remixing his tracks over here. And it's all different remixing of the tracks. So it's all short music. I mean, it's all short mix, but I can learn something from it. And I'm not saying anyway that what's important for myself over here is as I really grow, I'm not saying that no matter what, I can see straight away that Calvin Harris is making music. So he has an EP over here. I see his version. He has new music over here. So making sure anyway that as I go and really, really dwell upon listening to his new music, I want to understand what he's doing, and I'm understanding anyway that since I compare the comparisons of DJs and I see what they're doing in their life, I want to make sure that no matter what, I'm getting ahead of the game, but no matter what, that since I'm actually just dwelling upon my life over here, I'm very, very, let's say, quiet about music production today. And no matter what, that as soon as I hit the nightclubs, I probably there's somebody new in town. I probably I can feel this nice and beautiful vibe around Danny Milivojevic. And it's more how on the night, or else once I do the nice and beautiful set, probably I get a standing ovation, and I just move on. And then from that point, probably they understand me. Probably they really understand my music and how I make music. But it's a show of a lifetime. And now, no matter what, I realize the crowd will never understand that. Probably they'll never really understand what I did make. And why is that? Because they never really understand my music. Even though they love my music, they never really understand what I had to go through to make that. Because they're never music producers, but music producers really understand my actual music. And now when music producers understand what I made, brush they see, oh, and brush they see, nah, brush this guy's making long music, man. Brush they straight away understand my music is something big. I mean, they understand straight away that since I make long ass music in life, and since I'm making this episode, and since they understand me and my music really, Rush, they can see behind the scenes really about my music and how good I am. I mean, in a sense, so there's no lies between the music producers here in terms of who's the greatest among us. I mean, in a sense, because they can see I'm doing far more than them. But because I'm doing far more than them, Rush, that's where I get more attention here. I get more attention here, but then they see I do a lot of life coaching on the side as well. And now, because I do life coaching on the side as well, then they say, oh, he's doing life coaching too. And he's a fashion model as well. And he's a vegan and he's sober. And he's traveling the world doing life coaching and music as well. So I'm understanding anyway that since I'm actually doing that, I focus upon my life now, focus on going my way, but they never say anything. They never say anything about this. But it's written it's written in the stars. In a sense, so no matter what, you must understand that if they continue to go the way they are going, while Danny Milivojevic goes the long way, as I do right now, and I go and do much greater than that, and I understand that I go the long way and they go in the short way, or actually no matter what, that throughout history, they can see straight away how I'm dominating them. I'm dominating them in music, and it's already out there because I'm giving them information. I'm doing much more music than they are. Whoever's listening to this, understand I'm doing much more music than anybody else in the world. I'm making more music tracks than anybody. Because I'm making longer music work. And because I make longer music, I'm just enjoying my life. And then people, yes, they have their own music. They love their own music. They love my music. But guess what? These music producers have to love my music. But that's why I'm understanding that no matter what, that I love art, I give them a nice beautiful challenge here. I'm challenging them to really understand my music over here. And that's why I understand that no matter what, that these artists who come to see me and what I'm doing something different. But because I'm doing something different, I'm making sure that no matter what, I have a nice and beautiful melody orchestra around my music. And now my music is all different, and I can see exactly how I went about everything. And it's excellent. It's excellent because everything's different. And as you make different music happen, you have to evolve in music. And that's why you have to make different music always. And now I understand how my I Never Kill track went. And it went through a period of chill music with no energy. And then it went to breakdowns with no energy. And then it went to a nice and beautiful energy mix. And also, in that point, I'm probably sure I'll let it go from that point. I'm probably sure now, do I have energy mix in the chill tracks over here with my music? Probably sure now, I can say no. There was no energy much in my actual tracks, but yes, there is. There is some energy in terms of what I'm doing over here, because it's just a pad all the way through is going. So I understand that yes, there is energy all the way through. But making sure anyway, from that point, I went into another track, which is Ozonify, and from Ozonify, I made a nice and beautiful slope of automations where it comes at you and it comes at you and it goes away and it comes at you and it goes away and it comes at you and it goes away, and then over the side something is happening over there somewhere, and then something's happening in Zonify, I can see it. And then I understand that from that point I went and I made my Zonify track, I made my Zonify track different from my Darshan of a Kill track, and I made it more trance in a way that it's kicking with a beat, is a Zonify with whale vocals. And as I did add whale vocals, and it's such a success, I can see it. That since I do that, I make sure I'm learning much quicker about what's happening, and then I focus on making sure I'm making chill mixes, I'm making whatever I can to succeed. But I've already done that. I've already done what I want in terms of that. I'm understanding anyway that it's just like that. I can see that no matter what, that what I want to do really is I want to just let it be. I want to create one energy music track over here. I'm understanding that if I do that, I can, but it's more how I feel. And I feel that no matter what, I can see straight away that if I create 3-minute energy music tracks and 3-minute chill mix tracks, I realize now it's much better how I just go and make that happen in a way that I make the energy music tracks. And now, no matter what, that since I'm actually studying upon how I'm making music, I make an energy album, and then I'll go and work on a chill mix album. And I make something different with chill mix albums. And now why? I mean, why do I make chill mix albums? I mean, it's more how I feel. It's more how I understand straight away. I want to see the different parts of what's chill mix over here. And I can do it. But guess what, approach? It's more how I understand I can put it all together. I can make a chill mix with an energy music mix. Together I make 6 minutes of music here. And that's different. So I start off with a slow chill mix for the first 3 minutes, and it goes into an energy mix. And that's something of a small composition I have to make. And it's something different. So I'm making sure that no matter what, as I do that, focusing on understanding that I can make something happen here. So I'm making sure anyway, it's much more how I do it. I do these 6-minute mixes, and I make sure that it's much more how I make 6-minute mixes only. And I make 3-minute mixes as well. And guess what? I put it all together into an album and make sure it all goes on Spotify together. And people can see together what this music is. And it looks amazing when you have everything done like that. And then I understand that no matter what, the 9 to 13-minute mixes is something different. And that's a different mix, and that's a different orchestra, but making sure I have to do it. I have to go make different mixes. I have to do some extension too. I love it. Make an extension album here. People can listen to different albums. But if I do that, I mean, what do I learn from it? I learn from it something. I can learn something from that in terms of composition and structure. Definitely. And that's why I have to do it. So I'm making sure anyway I do that. And once I finish, let's say 10 EP albums of music, then I make sure I go and do all the chill mixes. I do all the 3-minute mixes for everything. I make all the extension mixes, and then I go and post it online as my first album, which is the First Commandment. The First Commandment album. And now, anyway, as I do that, I make sure that no matter what, I let it be that way. And I just go and do my nice and beautiful way of life over here, where I'm just learning something about life. And then I make sure to just keep it going. But by the time I make that, by the time I make my First Commandment album, I'm already someone around the field of whatever I'm doing. And as one album goes online, I'm sure people can see straight away. And then my second album, every single year I make 10 EPs. So I make these nice and beautiful EPs. I realize that there is much more to go in what I'm doing. There's much more to go in what I'm doing. I love it. But guess what, bro? It's much more how I pick up the pace over here. I have to pick up the pace in terms of what I'm doing over here. And why is that? Because I feel that if I go 10 EPs a year, I'm not saying that 10 times 2 over here, I realize that's 20 weeks. Or else every single 20 weeks. So I can understand in 52 weeks, or else I can make already 26 albums. can make 26 EPs per year. I mean, in music, and that's all just structure of music differently. I'll have to do different music. But I'm not saying that 26, I'm just going to do the calculation over here. I'll see 26 times over here. I'm making sure anyway I have to charge my phone. And as I charge my phone, I go and develop a strategy over here to show you guys. I'm just different, but what is it about music production now? I love it. Whereas the thing about music production is now I have to go and create events. I have to go and DJ my music, but everything's happening quickly for me. And why is that? Because I'm learning very quickly upon how to go and make nice and beautiful music out there. I'm understanding that, for example, with Avicii and IO's music, I understand that what they do is they get the music mix and they just go and mash up everything. I'm pretty sure they mash up everything, and they may go and, let's say, mash up something from other people's music and add it in as well. And they use other people's music as well to make music sets. And I understand that. But what I need to do also is make sure that I can go and do that for myself. I'm not saying that if you do it, then you're learning something about composition and other people's music tracks, and then you're just placing it and you're promoting it. I mean, that's all you're doing. So what I do now is I'm learning different aspects of what I need to do, but I see straight away my structures. And because I have all these massive structures of music, I understand that 6 hours of structure I can see in 3 tracks. I can see all my structures in what I've done in terms of music now. I can say my Allah track is something beautiful because that structure is just all I'm pretty sure that structure is amazing in terms of how I've done it, because it's just the way it is. And I understand anything else in terms of my previous music over here. I understand that no matter what, that it's all different structures and for different aspects, but I'm not saying that Allah just jumps at me really quickly out of those tracks. And making sure anyway that since I do that, I'm making sure that no matter what, that now since all of these structures, approaching my best structure in music is Untitled. I mean, why is that? Partially it's because it's a longer structure. I mean, my best structure in music that I've ever made until 2021, in terms of until 2022. And it's more how you have to understand that so far in my life, it's just 2021 right now. I'm not saying that until this moment, of this date and this audio program, I realize my best structure is Adonotopia. Unless I create some kind of track that's 5 hours long. I understand, but that's how it is, yeah. Actually, the structure, I love the structure of it is something I can see, the structure. And the structures are all different, but no matter what, I can see no matter what that if I do anything to help myself over here, I can see straight away my strategy around music. And I see how much I've came far about music. I've came a long way in terms of 2016 and 2014 and 2013 and 14 when I did start music back then. I'm making sure that you understand that no matter what, I'm always starting now. I'm making sure that I came a long way in terms of sound and structure and ways of dealing with sound and melodies and how I do life now. But I'm understanding that nobody else cares except I. But you guys care when you're listening to my music. I mean, you guys care when you're actually listening to my music, but when you never listen to my music, then you never care, do you? You understand? But when you understand my music, when you listen to it, then you do care. So those people who do listen to my content or audio production and what I do, and who do follow me daily, and who always keep coming back to see me, or should they care about me? Or should they keep coming listen? Or should they keep coming back to listen to my music and my compositions and also my nice and beautiful life in terms of life coaching and what I've done? Or it's more how I have life coaching as well. I mean, in a sense, so there's so much content I've done in terms of life coaching and music that I've already outdone everybody else. I'm far doing much more than everybody else. And that's why people care about me much more than everybody else. Because I've done far more in audio and content for everybody else. And that way I'm understanding that I have a great legacy because of that. So because I make all this music come true, Russia people can go and find it. And now when people find it, Russia it's much more how it is. But I'm understanding anyway how much of a long process it is about everything in terms of life. I can see that. I can see it straight away and just go clubbing very quickly. I go and make the money now. I make all these free events. And it's never the free events, but it's more the nice and beautiful free events. Yeah, I make free events and make events where you have to give me money as well, but I make events around music quickly, and I understand straight away I have to get into a nightclub. But for now, I probably should have the next 3 months anyway. I should have the next 3 months to be able to go and do my life. So I understand I want to go and do a calculation over here because my phone was dead. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going and do a greater job for myself in a way that I'm growing. I'm understanding anyway that I want to do a better job here to make sure I place my selfie stick on the actual nice and beautiful way of life over here, while also just go and develop a strategy to understand that I'm just going to upload this into my music section here. And then no matter what, I'm teaching you about life and coaching strategies as I go along. I see, so I do better.